Everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Now, my name is Oliver Bowie, and I form part of the customer success team here at Triangle Information Management. Now, Triangle Information Management are on a mission to re-energize existing Cognos Analytics estates. We specialize in helping the head of BI to reduce the cost of Cognos ownership and maximize the value that Cognos delivers to the business. Furthermore, we have over a decade of experience in helping our clients to seamlessly upgrade to the latest version of Cognos. And we hope you had a great Easter break. And to kickstart April, we are going to be presenting Be a Good Egg, Uncover the Hidden Value in Cognos, a webinar designed to provide you with a few simple exercises you can undertake right now to maximize the value that Cognos delivers to your business and reduce the cost of Cognos ownership along the way. Now, a little housekeeping just before we get started. Today's webinar won't last for too long, as we want to give you the time to take away the actions from today's webinar and put them into practice within your organization. We have a live poll that we would encourage you to participate in and tell us what you plan to do to uncover the hidden value in Cognos based on the hints and tips that we're going to share with you today. Now, at the end of the webinar, all attendees will be sent a replay of today's session for viewing at a later date. And all being well, this will arrive in your inbox within the next 3 hours. So, without further ado, let's get started with today's webinar. Now, over the last few weeks, Triangle Information Management have been undertaking a thorough research exercise in order to better understand what challenges and hurdles users of IBM Cognos Analytics need to overcome or address today. Now, based on our findings and the real-world feedback received from existing IBM Cognos Analytics users, we learned that users want to re-energize their IBM Cognos Analytics estates and deliver a system ultimately that both the BI team and line of business users want and love to use. Now, commonly, the head of business intelligence and the BI manager will be tasked with proving their investment in Cognos worthwhile, but they can't achieve this without the buy-in and engagement from the rest of the business. Now, following on from this, and to kick off our webinar today, we're going to share with you a simple exercise that you can undertake to maximize the user adoption of Cognos within your organization. Now, let's start by putting things into context. Imagine this. You're the head of finance and you've just appointed a new member to your finance team in your business, and it's their first day using Cognos. Now, as with any new member of staff joining your team and being introduced to the new technology, especially Cognos, it's almost guaranteed they will have questions for you. But as the head of finance, you have meetings to attend and your own tasks to undertake. Now, in summary, although you would like to spend more time with your newest member of the finance team, answering their Cognos-related questions and offering support to help them to understand the technology in greater depth, you know that time isn't on your side. So, who do you delegate the task of answering Cognos questions to? Now, in this case, you could delegate the task of answering Cognos-related questions to another more experienced member of your finance team. But how can you be sure that the answers they provide are correct and ultimately framed in a way that is easy for the new member of your finance team to understand and digest? In summary, if the questions posed by the new member of your finance team don't get answered fully or correctly, they won't be able to use technology, in this case Cognos, to its maximum potential, and it's highly likely they will stop using the tool altogether. Now, as a result, Cognos user adoption isn't as strong as it used to be, and the level of value that Cognos once delivered to your business begins to decline. Now, imagine this replicated across all line of business departments in your business. What was once a small department-level user adoption headache has now flourished into a much more serious Cognos user adoption migraine. The solution and your first exercise to undertake after this webinar is to appoint your Cognos champion. Now, by appointing a Cognos champion in your business, in this case at department level, you know that an experienced user of Cognos who can answer the questions of your team clearly and succinctly is always on hand to provide support when needed. Now, not only do you have a member of your finance team who you are confident in can support the rest of your team in their use of Cognos, you know that the newest member of your finance team will learn how to use Cognos and all its associated capabilities confidently and without hesitation. The next action to undertake is to review the user experience of Cognos. Again, in order to maximize the user adoption of Cognos, as well as the value that Cognos is contributing to your business. If users are not happy with the way reports are designed, structured, or if error messages are a common occurrence in Cognos, the likelihood is that line of business users will look to an alternative tool for their reporting or BI requirements. Now, if you're the head of business intelligence or the person responsible for managing the Cognos estate in your business, ask yourself, when was the last time you spoke to line of business users about their experience of using Cognos? If the answer was fairly recently, then great. However, if it has been a while since you spoke to line of business users about their Cognos experience, then now would be a good time to undertake the following action. Survey a segment of line of business Cognos users. Now, the user experience survey should be designed in a way that provides you with the answers and feedback you require in order to ensure the very best user experience. Survey solutions such as SurveyMonkey or Google Forms can be used to perform your survey, empower your survey requirements, and both provide great insight into the responses that get returned. Now, as a starting point, we suggest asking the following 5 questions in your survey. Number 1, how would you rate your Cognos user experience? Number 2, in your opinion, how could the user experience be improved? And 3, how would you rate navigation design and ease of use? 4, how often do you come across Cognos error messages? And 5, do you find that reports are designed in a way that makes effective use of graphs, tables, and crosstabs? Now, to get the very best feedback possible from line of business users in your organization, we suggest interviewing at least 4 IBM Cognos users. In an ideal world, 2 of the users should be actively using Cognos on a regular basis, for example, daily, and 2 users should be less frequent users of Cognos. So by approaching the survey from this angle, your results are more likely to be balanced and the feedback received less influenced. Next, we're going to talk about system performance, and more importantly, how poor system performance can impact the amount of value that IBM Cognos contributes to your business. Now imagine you're the CEO of a large organization, relying on IBM Cognos Analytics for your daily reporting requirements. When the reports arrive, they take an age to load and occasionally they fail, meaning you don't get the information you require. However, as the CEO of a large organization, you are heavily reliant on the reports that Cognos delivers to you daily. Now, as a result of this poor system performance, frustration sets in, and one of the 2 things are likely to happen. The CEO loses faith in IBM Cognos Analytics and looks to supplement or replace IBM Cognos with another BI or reporting tool. Or 2, the CEO will turn to Excel for their reporting requirements. Now, what's not to blame here is the tool. IBM Cognos Analytics itself is very capable at delivering reports to a high standard, but without appropriate and effective report scheduling and design, poor system performance begins to set in. So to combat this, here's an action you can undertake right now to overcome and prevent poor system performance. Firstly, review how many of your reports are set to run at the same time, and evaluate whether this correlates with the poor system performance you might be experiencing. Now, if numerous reports are set to run at the same time, consider rescheduling them to run at separate intervals. And step 2, and in addition to the previous action, take time to investigate how many users are trying to access reports at the same time, as this too can contribute to poor system performance. And finally, we're going to take a look at unearthed insight. And to start with, I'm going to define what unearthed insight is and how it applies to your organization. Now, imagine a smoke alarm ringing in the middle of the night. You jump to investigate and get your family out of the house. You don't ignore the sound of the fire alarm, you act because it is alerting you to immediate danger. Now, imagine and compare your BI tool to a smoke alarm. A BI tool gathers both data and both alert you to issues, but ultimately it falls to you to take action. Now, you wouldn't ignore a fire alarm, so why ignore your BI tool? And this is where many BI projects fail. You wouldn't go back to bed or remove the battery when you hear the smoke alarm ringing. In summary, you need to react to the signals from your BI tool and be prepared to act. Now, with this in mind, we've provided a small checklist for you. We've named it the smoke alarm test. It consists of 3 questions to ask your team to ensure that you stay responsive to your BI tool and have the ability to act on analyst insight. Now, firstly, do you have concerns over whether you can trust the data and information in Cognos? The very first question to ask of your team. If users don't have faith in what Cognos is telling them, or indeed if the information they are presented with, they're going to look for an alternative way of getting the answers they require. Now, as a result, the business no longer has a single version of the truth. So be sure to assess data confidence in your organization and address any data-related concerns that your team raise. And next, do you feel that Cognos presents information in an easy to understand and compelling way? If end users obtain the information but can't understand it in its current format, fundamentally it's unusable. Therefore, it's important to ensure that all information is presented in an appropriate way that makes digesting and understanding information a simple and effortless task. And 3, how actionable is the information and data that Cognos is providing? Now, commonly, organizations fall into the trap of measuring unactionable data. Often related to as vanity metrics, this information often makes you feel good on paper, but more than likely won't result in change. An example of a vanity metric could include page views to a website. Focusing on the wrong metrics is dangerous, so make sure you set out your goals and focus on analyzing actionable, meaningful information that can drive real positive change for your organization. And finally, it leaves me to say, on behalf of Triangle Information Management and for myself, thank you for attending today's webinar. If you've got any questions regarding the points discussed today, please do contact our customer success team by emailing insights@triangle-bpm.com. And once again, thank you for attending, and we look forward to seeing you on a webinar again soon.